Tanchuma in this week's Parsha, Parshas Emor, quotes the following pasuk from Tehillim: "Titzkascha kahare kel mishpatecha tehom rabba, adoma behema tushia Hashem." This is a pasuk that we recite at Shabbos Mincha, which is translated somewhat as follows: "You, God's righteousness, is kahare el, like the mighty mountains. Mishpatecha tehom rabba, your judgment goes into the depth. Adoma behema tushia Hashem. Hashem provides salvation for both man and animal." Commenting on the last part of the pasuk, the Medrash quotes Rabbi Yitzchak, who says, Rabbi Yitzchak, Mishpat Adam Mishpat Behema Echad. The judgment for man and the judgment for animal are one. A little bit surprising. What does that mean? Mishpat Adam, what does it mean, the judgment for man? Uvayom Hashmini Yimbol Psar Lo. That on the 8th day, a young boy is given a bris milah, accepted into the covenant of Abraham. And the judgment of an animal was that, that 8 days after the animal is born is when it can be brought as a korban. So why is this so? Why is it that it requires 8 days? So the Medrash goes on to explain with the following parable. Amar Rabbi Yeshua Diskin B'Shem Rabbi Levi Omer. Rabbi Yeshua Dis from Sichnin says the name of Rabbi Levi. It's a parable is to a king who enters into a country or into a state, and he makes an announcement. But he says, if you want to be able to greet the king, you want to come see me, that's fine, but first you have to meet with my officer. So so too Hashem says to the Jewish nation, my sons, don't bring before me a korban, a sacrifice, until a Shabbos has passed over it. Because you can't have a week without Shabbos. And there's no bris milah, there's no accepting into the covenant without a Shabbos. Okay, so why is that the case? I think we could look at it from two different perspectives. On the one hand, we could look at it from the animal, from the child's perspective. In order to be able to achieve this great height, to be given a bris milah, or to be for an animal to be brought as korban, so it has to feel, as it were, me'ein olam haba. He has to feel what it's like to experience God's ultimate reward, which is reflected in Shabbos, and therefore, both the animal and the young boy have to experience the Shabbos before becoming closer and before making a connection with God. However, there's another perspective, which is that it's not the child, it's not the animal that needs to, as it were, feel the kedusha of Shabbos. No, it's the parent or it's the owner who needs to feel the connection to God on Shabbos before bringing a child or before taking an animal for a sacrifice. A parent, after having gone through a birth, especially the mother, needs the opportunity to spiritually recharge after the upheaval of the birth of a child, which can be accomplished through Shabbos. And at that point, then perhaps the parent is a little more ready and a little more focused on being able to bring their son into the covenant of Abraham. Similarly, with respect to the owner of an animal, an animal being born, maybe it's not such a big deal. It's certainly not as big a deal as having a child, and it can easily be lost in the weekday struggles of a person who's getting his animals to work, to plow, and so on and so forth, and therefore. God says, no, spend a Shabbos, right? Take a moment to sit back and realize what I've given you, right? Realize that, look, I've provided you with a new animal. And at that point, once the person realizes what he or she has, then the person can actually make a sacrifice, right? The person can now say, okay, I'm going to take something that God gave me, which I now understand because I've had the opportunity to rest, and bring that as a sacrifice. And this just, I think, highlights the importance of Shabbos, and the need to be able to take a step back and understand what we have, and to be able to thank God for all that He has given us. Good Shabbos.